Dear students, welcome back to MNR's digital classes. This is the third lecture in atomic physics. In this lecture, we are going to understand the theoretical background of Millikan's oil drop method of determining the electronic charge. In the last session, already we learned the experimental procedure, working principle, and construction of oil drop method experimental setup. Let us consider an oil drop of radius A having density rho, that is oil drop formed by a liquid of density rho moving inside the chamber having a medium, that is air, of density sigma and coefficient of viscosity eta. Now, in the first case, let us consider the motion of this oil drop under the action of gravity alone. That is, electric field is turned off or E is taken as equal to 0. The plates A and B first connected together such that the electric field between them is 0. A single drop is observed through the microscope as it descends under the action of gravity. As the drop is moving downwards in a viscous medium under the action of gravity, first it accelerates but gradually slows down because of the air resistance, that is the viscous force, and finally acquires a constant velocity, that is called the terminal velocity. Let us take this terminal velocity as equal to V0. The suffix O represents electric field is equal to 0. Using a stopwatch, the terminal velocity of the drop is measured by noting the time taken by it to cover the distance between the two crosshairs. There are two crosshairs marked in the field of view of the telescope, which is attached with the micrometer scale. As the drop reaches the first crosshair, the stopwatch is switched on, and as it reaches the bottom here, the stopwatch is switched off so that the time taken by the drop to cover this distance is measured in the field of view of the telescope. Now, this oil drop is under the action of different forces. All the forces acting on this droplet, which is moving downwards, can be easily visualized with the help of a free body diagram. The free body diagram tells us there are three forces. Two of them are acting vertically upwards, while the third one is acting downwards. Now let us understand one by one. The first force, which is due to viscosity of the air and it is directed upwards, this viscous force can be expressed mathematically by using Stokes' law. According to Stokes' law, for a spherical object of radius A moving in a medium of coefficient of viscosity eta, which acquires the terminal velocity V0, is given by f of v is equal to 6 pi eta A V0. This force is in the upward direction. The second force is due to Archimedes principle. According to Archimedes principle, any object placed in a medium, it displaces some certain mass of the medium. The amount of that displacement is due to the buoyant force or force of buoyancy. According to Archimedes principle, the buoyant force is given by Fb is equal to 4 by 3 pi a cube sigma g, where a is the radius of the drop, sigma is the density of the medium. The third force is the downward force, which is due to gravity. According to Newton's law, the gravitational force Fg is equal to m into g, that is given by 4 by 3 pi a cube rho into g, where rho is density of the oil drop. The drop descends under the action of these three forces. The equation of motion of this drop is given by Fv plus Fb is equal to Fg. Substituting the values, 6 pi eta A V naught, that is the viscous force, plus 4 by 3 pi A cube sigma G buoyant force, and the third one is gravity, 4 by 3 pi A cube rho into G. Rearranging the terms, 4 by 3 pi A cube into rho minus sigma G is equal to 6 pi eta A V naught. Call this as equation 1. That is, this left hand, the term on the left side of this equation 1 gives us the effective weight of the drop, which is equal to the viscous force. Therefore, the radius of the drop is given by rearranging the terms, cancelling the possible terms and rearranging. We get the radius of the drop A is equal to square root of 9 by 2 eta V naught divided by rho minus sigma into G. Call this as equation 2. The effective mass of the drop M is equal to, already we learned that from equation 1, the LHS of equation 1 gives us effective weight. Therefore, the effective mass of the drop is given by M is equal to 4 by 3 pi A cube into rho minus sigma, eliminating G. Mg gives us the effective weight. So if we remove G, that gives us effective mass. Using the value of A, the radius of the drop from equation 2, we have M is equal to 4 by 3 pi into 9 by 2 eta V naught divided by rho minus sigma into G to the power of 3 by 2 into rho minus sigma. Call this as equation 3. Equation 3 helps us in calculating the effective mass of the drop. Now, let us consider the motion of the drop under the combined action of gravitational field and electric field. Now, the electric field between the plates is established by adjusting the suitable potential difference. Its magnitude adjusted so that the suitable drop moves slowly upwards. The electric field is adjusted in such a way that the drop slowly starts moving in the upward direction with a constant terminal velocity. Let us take this as equal to V1. And this terminal velocity V1 is determined by using the procedure already explained. In this case, in addition to the three forces which we already discussed, the viscous force, force of buoyancy and force of gravity, there is one more force which comes into act, that is due to the presence of electric field, that is the applied electric field. Now let us understand all the four forces with the help of free body diagram. Now observe here, already we know the three forces. Since the drop is moving upwards, the viscous force will be now in the downward direction, which is equal to 6 pi eta A V1. In the earlier case, it is taken as V naught. Now, because of the applied electric field, the terminal velocity is changed. The new terminal velocity, let us take this as equal to V1. We know that gravitational force is always acts vertically downwards, which is equal to 4 by 3 pi A cube rho into G. Buoyant force always acts vertically upwards, which is equal to 4 by 3 pi A cube sigma G. In addition to these three forces, which we discussed already in the first case, due to the applied electric field, there exists electrostatic force due to the Coulomb's law, which is equal to Q1 into E, where Q1 is the charge acquired by the drop due to frictional effects at the nozzle of the atomizer, Q1 into E. Now, from the free body diagram, it is clear that the equation of motion of the drop is given by Fe plus Fp is equal to Fg minus Fb. So there is a correction. It is corrected now. Fe plus Fb, the upward force, sum of upward forces is equal to the sum of downward forces. Upward forces are Coulomb's force and buoyant force, which is equal to gravitational force and viscous force. Substituting the values, Q1E plus 4 by 3 pi A cube sigma G is equal to 4 by 3 pi A cube rho G plus 6 pi eta A. Now the terminal velocity is, in this case, is V1. Rearrange the terms. Q1E is equal to 4 by 3 pi A cube into rho minus sigma into G plus 6 pi eta A V1. Call this as equation 4. Using equation 1, 4 by 3 pi A cube into rho minus sigma into G is equal to 6 pi eta A V0. Recall the equation 1. Equation 1 is equal to 4 by 3 pi A cube into rho minus sigma into G is equal to 6 pi eta A V0. So replacing this 4 by 3 pi A cube into rho minus sigma into G is equal with 6 pi eta A or 6 pi eta A into V0 plus 6 pi eta A into V1. Therefore, Q1 is equal to the charge acquired by the drop due to frictional effects at the nozzle of the atomizer is equal to 6 pi eta A divided by E into V0 plus V1. Call this as equation 5. Now, third step. The air between the plates is irradiated with the ionizing source, say X-rays. Even in some cases, radioactive source can also be used for ionizing the air between the plates. The air molecules gets ionized due to exposure by the X-rays. Now, the eye drop under observation may pick up the additional charges. These charges may be positive charges or may be negative charges. That depends on the situation. Due to the acquisition of the charges, the velocity of the drop changes suddenly. If we keep the electric field, then if we take the new charge as equal to Q2, the new term due to change in the charge Q2, the electric force, even though electric field is constant, Coulomb force changes. It will be equal to Q2 into E. Therefore, the corresponding new terminal velocity is V2. Then from equation 5, we have again there was a typing error. Q2 is equal to 6 pi eta A by E into V0 plus V2. The entire equation, again there will be 4 forces: the gravitational force, viscous force, buoyant force. They will remain. The buoyant force and gravitational force remains unchanged, whereas viscous forces, the term V1 should be replaced by V2. Electric force, Q1 is replaced by Q2. So this is called this as equation 2. Equation 6. 6 minus 5 gives us Q2 minus Q1 LHS is equal to 6 pi eta A by E into V2 minus V1. Let us take this Q2 minus Q1 as the change in the charge, that is equal to take it as delta Q. Similarly, the corresponding change in velocity, take it as delta V. Now, for the same drop under the action of same electric field, the quantity 6 pi eta A by E will remain the constant. Hence, we can write the equation as delta Q. The change in the charge on the drop is directly proportional to the corresponding change in terminal velocity delta V. That is, the change in terminal velocity is therefore proportional to the quantity of additional charge acquired. Now with this, let us understand the results with the discussion. In the course of experiments, Millikan made the observations of a particular drop, made the observations on thousands of drops having different sizes and formed by different liquids such as oil, glycerin, mercury, etc. and with different gases as the medium, air, hydrogen, etc. And also he performed the experiments by varying the electric field. That is, he performed the experiments with a different potential difference. He collected the data with painstaking precision and calculated the value of terminal velocity for large number of observations on each drop. He made the observation with drops of different sizes, made up of different liquids, and they are made to move in different gases, and they are made to move under the action of different values of electric fields. In each case, he collected the data over a large number of observations. By comparing the difference of terminal velocities between each drop, he found that there was a minimum value of delta V, say delta V minimum, and that other values of delta V were always simple integer of multiples of this delta V. If we take the difference in terminal velocity for a given drop, we found that the values, when they are arranged in a systematic manner, we found that there is a minimum value of delta V, and the other values of delta V are simply an integral multiple of this minimum value, no matter what kind of drop was considered and in which gas it is made to move and under what value of electric field it is moving. It follows that there is a certain minimum value. From equation 8, it is clear that corresponding to a minimum value of delta V, there is a minimum charge on the drop that is taken. Let us take this as equal to delta Q, and all the other charges were simply an integral multiple of this minimum charge value delta Q. In the course of experiment, Millikan measured 58 droplets over a course of 60 consecutive days among the drops formed by the spraying process. Some had initially no charge, but successfully picked up one charge, 1 unit of charge, 2 unit of charge, and up to 50. The minimum value of delta Q was found to be 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs, and the maximum value was found to be 27.2 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. And every case, the value of delta Q was found to be an integral multiple of 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. After a long series of experimentations, Millikan confirmed that this minimum charge is equal to some fundamental value. He proposed that this fundamental value is the charge of 1 electron. That is, delta Q, change in value, is equal to an integral multiple of this fundamental value. When we take this delta Q minimum, that corresponds to the charge of 1 electron. So the equation 7 now becomes delta Q minimum is equal to 6 pi eta A by E into V2 minus V1 minimum. So the minimum value of delta Q is taken as the fundamental unit of charge, that is the charge of electron E. If we write it as E, then E is equal to 6 pi eta A by E into delta V minimum. Now substituting the value of the radius of the drop A for using equation 2, we have E is equal to charge of electron is equal to 6 pi eta into delta V minimum by E into root of 9 by 2 eta V naught divided by rho minus sigma into G. Call this as equation 9. This equation 9 gives us the expression for charge of electron. Millikan calculated the charge of electron and he found the value of the charge of electron to be 1.5924 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. In the original experiment, he got this value as charge of electron. His calculations yielded fairly accurate results. The accuracy of the result is within 1% of the current accepted value of charge of electron, which is equal to 1.602 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. Now let us understand the importance of Millikan's oil drop experiment. This experiment, besides providing the value of very fundamental constant of nature, that is the electronic charge, it also provided some useful information. The first one, which we already discussed, it helps in finding the electronic charge. It is a direct and highly precise method for the determination of electronic charge. The second point, in addition to the determination of electronic charge directly with high precision, this experiment also establishes the quantization of charge. It is established the atomic nature of electricity in a very decisive manner. This indication of atomic nature of electricity has also been supported by a number of other experiments, so that we now believe in the quantization of electronic charge. For the first time, this experiment provides an experimental evidence for the quantization of charge. Even though there are theoretically it is known, experimentally it is proved the quantization of charge. This method also helps in calculating the Avogadro number. The knowledge of charge of electron helps to determine the value of Avogadro number. From electrolysis, it is known that the charge on n electrons, where n is the Avogadro number, is equal to 1 Faraday or 96,494 coulombs. The total charge of these n electrons, if we calculate, Q is equal to n into E, so that is equal to 96,494 coulombs. That is the experimental value obtained. But we know that charge of one electron according to Millikan is 1.5924 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. So the value of Avogadro number n is equal to 96,494 divided by 1.5924 into 10 to the power of minus 19 is equal to 6.062 into 10 to the power of 23. This is the nearly equal to the experimentally accepted value of Avogadro number. This method also helps in calculating the electronic mass. The value of charge of electron obtained by Millikan and by using the mean value of specific charge E by M obtained by earlier workers such as Thomson, Dempster and others can be used to find the mass of electron. E by M, the value of E by M obtained experimentally by the other workers is 1.7597 into 10 to the power of 11 coulombs per kg, and charge of electron obtained by Millikan is 1.5924 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. Therefore, mass of the electron M is equal to E divided by E by M. This is equal to 1.5924 into 10 to the power of minus 19 divided by E by M value is 1.7597 into 10 to the power of 11. So this comes out to be 9.049 into 10 to the power of minus 31, which can be approximately taken as 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. So electronic mass can be easily estimated by using the Millikan's oil drop method. This method has certain limitations also. His results seem to indicate that the values of charge of electron dependent upon the size of the drop. it was found that the value of E was fairly constant when the size of the drop is larger. But the value of E is found to be slightly higher when the drops of smaller size were considered. It was soon realized that this discrepancy was arising due to the conditions under which the Stokes law was derived were not quite valid in the experiment. The first limitation, for very small drops, the measured value of electronic charge was higher as the conditions under which the Stokes law was derived were not quite valid in this experiment. The second limitation, the Stokes law is applicable only for the medium of infinite extent, while the drops descend in the experiment through finite distance. This is a major limitation of Millikan's eyedrop method. Now, the upper plate is provided with a narrow pinhole or the orifice. This orifice will distort the electric field. So, the value of electric field used for the calculation may be slightly different what actually applied in the experiment. So, this will put a limitation for the experimental procedure. The uncertainty in the value of coefficient of viscosity is the chief source of error in the experiment. A more accurate evaluation of viscosity of air is necessary to make accurate measurements of the charge of electron. These are the limitations of Millikan's eyedrop method. Thank you.